Alright, so this is the second installment of the Excel tutorial. So now we're going to try and figure out, remember we're trying to draw the mobility matrix, and so we need to figure out all the ratios. So you don't always need to use your built-in function. Sometimes you just want to interact numbers that you already have in your table. So for example, in this first line, I would say equal because I want to interact something. I want to put in a formula. I want to say that I want to take this number and divide it by the world average for that year. So there you go. It says plus, it shouldn't be plus, it should be division. So division is with a slash, multiplication would be with an asterisk mark, addition is with an addition mark, minus is with minus, and power is with this mark. Okay, so we're interested in just the division mark, so that's what we're going to get. So that's 0.35, that's good. Now, if I pull this down, and that's one of the nice features of Excel, it would actually calculate it all the way. But notice what happened. Let's take something funky happened because you have all these divs. So let's look at the very first one. The formula is B3 divided by B24. So it's B3. Notice if I highlight it, it shows me the cell. So it took this number and divided it with that. Now if we went into then hit enter to get out of there, the next one said B4 divided by B25. Okay, so what's happening there? The earlier one was B3 by B24, this one is B4 by B25. So notice it has changed this 3 to 4, and it has changed the 24 here to 25. But that's not what we want. We want each one of these numbers to be divided by the same mean, which was B23. So sometimes there are uses where you want every single one, the formulas to keep changing numbers for all of them, and this is not one of those. So basically what's happening is we want the numerator to keep changing. So we want it to be B3, B4, B5, B6. So that part is fine, but we don't want the denominator to change. Okay, so we want the denominator to remain at B24. So the way to tell Excel not to change a number or a particular cell in a formula is to put a dollar sign in front of the letter and in front of the number. So this is our way of saying, for this formula, take B3 and divide it by B24, and that's fine, nothing new. But when we pull on it, when we try to do a field series, I want you not to change this 24 and this B. I don't want the formula to kind of go ahead and increase the numbers here. The numerator, I didn't put any dollar sign, so that can go change, right? So if you notice now what happened, the second cell, well, the numerator is now changing, but the denominator is remaining the same, and that's exactly what we want. So that's a very, very, very useful tool. It's called absolute referencing versus relative referencing. So B23 changing to B24, or B3 changing to B4 to B5, B6. That is relative referencing based on where the cell is. It's relatively changing. But this dollar sign that we put manually is basically absolute referencing, which is saying that as we're trying to fill series or do the pull down, it's gonna continue referring to the same cell. Okay, so now we can do the exact same thing here. We can also figure out the mean. So if I actually pull this thing now, it's kind of nice, right? Why is this nice? Notice it gave me the mean of B3 to B23, but in this cell it gave me the mean for C3 to C23. Here it gave me the mean for D3 to D23, which is very useful. Here I don't need it yet, and actually here I don't need it either. But you can just pull things like that, and relative referencing again will really help you there, right? It will change the numbers. And here I'm not using absolute referencing, or I'm not putting dollar signs because I want the means here. So here I can now write out, I want this to be equal to that divided by dollar sign D dollar sign 24. There, I got it. All right, we are all ready to go into our next tutorial.